So, what do you think it is that makes it feel compelling to poke around at that problem in a sort of explanatory manner? See this? I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I really don't like it. It's not enough to just say, no thanks. No, thank you. I'm not the only one who doesn't like it. We hear you say. Nobody really likes that. We shouldn't have to put up with it. We just shouldn't. I'm going to get online. I'll bet there's others feel the same way. Yep. It's a movement. I'm going to join the war against. There's a war against drugs and a war against poverty and a war against teenage pregnancy and a war against poverty and a war against drugs and a war against teenage pregnancy and a war against cancer and a war against drugs and a war against teenage pregnancy and a war against and a war against and a war against and a war against, and they're all getting bigger because the more you look at something, the more law of attraction says, oh, here's more, here's more, here's more, here's more. So we want you to realize that while it is of value for you to know what you don't want, while it is helpful to know what you don't want, while solutions are born out of defining the problem, the more you define the problem, the more you define the solution. We just want to be very clear that while you're still defining the problem, you cannot catch a vibrational glimpse of the solution. And law of attraction is responding to you where you are offering your vibration. And there are a lot of people who think that just by saying positive words or by saying it in a positive way, that's enough, that law of attraction should now take them at their word. And we say, law of attraction does not take you at your word. Law of attraction takes you at your vibration. And the only way you really know what your vibration is by the way you're feeling. So you have two indications of whether you're leaning away from who you really are and what you want, or toward who you really are and what you really want. The first evidenced is the way you feel, your emotions. But many of you have become so determined and strong and valiant and vigilant and hardy and determined that you can withstand a whopping amount of negative emotion. Those who were here when you got here sort of trained you that way. Quit your crying. Quit your crying, they said. Keep a stiff upper lip. The world doesn't revolve around you. It really does. It really does. Your world exactly revolves around you. And if you're keeping a stiff upper lip in the face of something unwanted and not doing anything about changing your focus until the tension goes away, you cannot be a vibrational match to the solution. That's what that tension that you feel is. That's your indication that you're not in the vicinity of who you really are and what you really want. You were source energy before you came into these bodies. Do you know that? You don't remember it. Do you know that? You don't remember it. Do you know that? You sort of have to take our word for it, but do you know that? You don't remember that. You were source energy. You don't remember that because you came forth wanting new exposure to new experience, but you don't remember what was before you were in this physical body. But you don't have to remember that because the larger part of you is still there, and that larger part of you is still emanating strong signals to you, so you don't have to remember it, you can feel it. You can feel the vibration of who you came from, but better stated, who you have become. Because as you came forth from this source energy, a part of your consciousness, into this physical body, as you explore here, knowing what you don't want and therefore knowing what you do want, every time you emanate that rocket of preference, the inner being part of you becomes it, absorbs it, amends who you are, becomes the fuller version of who you are as a result of this most recent exposure to life. So you can tell all day, every day, in every moment that you are conscious or awake or aware, you can tell whether you are vibrationally in the vicinity of who you are, you feel contentment, satisfaction, ease and flow, love and passion, exhilaration. In other words, you feel fabulous when you're tuned in to the energy of who you really are. And the less close to that frequency you are, the worse you feel. The more you feel frustration or lethargy or anger or fear or depression. In other words, the emotional guidance scale really indicates one thing and one thing only, but it's a big thing. It indicates your relationship with who you really are. Now, many people, at first, when they hear us say that, think, I don't know, Abraham, I've always pretty much known who I am, and I'm in this body. I was little, now I'm big. I was young, and now I'm older, but I pretty much know, I think, who I am. We say, not even close. Most humans have no real sense of who you are. You don't know your power. You don't know your wisdom. You don't know your clarity. You don't know your stamina. You don't know your love. You don't know your worthiness. You are allowing but a scanty little part of yourself because you're fixated on problems and using those problems as your predominant point of focus. Most people offer most of their vibration, which, it's so important because your vibration equals your point of attraction. What you're putting out is what you're getting back. Most people offer the majority of their vibrational output because of something that they are observing. But they're not very particular about what they observe. Do you ever watch television? If you do, you are bombarded by unwanted stuff. And it comes at you much faster than you can sort, sift, decide, and pivot. Much faster, much faster. So you just hear it and 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 hear it. Hear it and respond, hear it and respond, hear it and respond, hear it and respond, hear it, respond, hear it, respond. And you let that television train your frequency into unwanted territory, and then you wonder why the things that are in your vortex, the things you really want, don't come to you in the way we profess that they should come. What's wrong with me, you say? We say nothing in the world is wrong with you, but you sometimes let unwanted things do the majority of training you into a frequency that then you say, well, I'm tough. I've got a stiff upper lip. I'm determined. I can play full on. I can make it happen. I will make myself financially prosperous. I will bring myself into alignment with what I want. And we say, really, friends, you cannot force it. You have to feel it into place. You have to allow it. You have to surrender the resistance in order to allow who you really are to be. A while back, we wrote a wonderful book called Money and the Law of Attraction. Many people were eager to know how to put money into the equation. And from that, Jerry chose 60 predominant statements, our favorites and his. And we think that this 60 card deck of affirmation cards represents the best vibrational latitude that anyone could achieve for the allowing of well-being on all fronts, not just financial, to flow into your experience. But we also know that when you're standing fixated on the problem of not enough money, that these cards are as much a curse as a blessing. Because when you affirm what you want, when you're feeling strong absence of it, you just get defensive, don't you? I can earn money by doing what I love to do. Right. The story I tell is the basis of my life. That's not good news. My every story is attracting its vibrational match. Oh, kill me now. I can see my world through the eyes of Source. My Source must be blind. My attention to unwanted attracts more unwanted. Damn. When you are standing in a place of not feeling good, not having what you want, not seeing the evidence of the prosperity that you want. And from that place of real fear or deep frustration or even anger, you make an effort to get it right. Your effort backfires because you're efforting against resistance. In other words, law of attraction doesn't effort against resistance. Law of attraction waits until you're a cooperative component and then just draws you with the other cooperative components, you see. So, why would we so unwisely create such beautiful affirmations if they are so unuseful to those who need them most? Because need and desire are different frequencies. Because problems and solutions are different frequencies. Because we know that sometimes you'll be in the vibration of solution. Sometimes you'll be in the vortex. Sometimes you'll be tuned in, turned on, tapped into who you really are. Sometimes you will have just made love with your lover and you will be so high on life. Sometimes you will have just seen a rainbow or a sunset. Sometimes you will have been petting your cat or listening to music. Sometimes you will have just come out of meditation. You will be feeling absolutely no resistance whatsoever. And when under those conditions from inside the vortex, you read or affirm, my life is as good as I allow it to be, sweet music to my ears. I'll read the other side of that card. I am always receiving the essence of what I am giving. So good to be in charge of my life. Welcome to planet Earth. You are here to have and seek joy. I can follow the trail of good feeling thoughts. In my appreciation, I allow myself to receive wonderful things. From inside the vortex, these feel so good. Goosebumps ripple up and down your body. And while you affirm from inside the vortex, you tune your frequency there. You practice the frequency of it. What good is that? It makes you less likely to be out of the vortex. It makes you more solution-oriented, less problem-oriented. It cues you up. It firms you up. It establishes your vibrational position in the universe, and everything in your world then shifts because your point of attraction shifts. You spend a day aware of the vortex and doing your best to get in, and once you know you're in, stay in. Milk it, milk it, milk it, affirm from inside the vortex. You shift your point of attraction so dramatically that every relationship that you have immediately shifts, because you're no longer a match to the components of that person you work with, or that person you work for, or that person you live with, or those people that you know. You are no longer the same vibrational match to the people at the diner, or to the people in traffic, or to the people with whom you place your orders, or with the people with whom you co-create. When you shift your point of attraction, everything shifts. Everything shifts. Everything shifts. And as it shifts from inside the vortex, it shifts for the better. You keep that up a little bit. People watching you will say, "What is your magic?" And you'll say, "I stopped trying so hard. I discovered that effort was counterproductive, because the time I felt that I needed to offer the most effort was at the time I was offering the most resistant vibration. And I discovered I could not buck my own current. All I did was wear myself down, break myself down, defeat myself, and make it harder." So what did you decide to do, they ask. If you stop effort, won't the world come to a screeching halt? Then they really come after you. Well, if nobody went to work, then what kind of a world would it be? Happier. But that's not what we're suggesting. We're not saying don't go to work. We're saying don't go unless you're in the vortex. We're not saying don't have a meaningful conversation. We're saying don't have it unless you're sure you're in the vortex. We're not saying don't offer action. We are saying let action be inspired from inside the vortex, and the action not only will be profoundly more productive. Oh, the leverage from inside the vortex is almost uncalculatable. The effort from inside the vortex, the leverage from inside the vortex is huge, because you have the energy that creates worlds flowing through you, and the cooperative components are immense. But we're not encouraging you to offer effort from outside the vortex, because it backfires.